8 of the archers that you get the privilege of making it automatically to a certain round of matches. So you don't even usually have to shoot your first couple of matches to make it higher, which means ultimately your ending placement is going to be higher than somebody that had to shoot more matches.
Here comes the team of India, also a formidable team to compete against. They're the guys that knocked out the USA earlier this week. Strong team to shoot against.
A couple of these archers also placed very high. You can see the quiver number on the gentleman in the middle. Has a 4 on it.
Verma,
yeah.
A solid archer.
Abhishek placed 4th for qualification. He had a very good 72 arrow score to start off the weekend with, and usually, a lot of times qualification only tells you where in the brackets you're going to be, but being in that top 8 does give you a little bit more of a break. You don't have to worry about making it through the first couple matches. You can make it further right away, which sometimes will give you a little bit more practice time, a little bit more time to get used to kind of what's going on around you.
Yeah, here we have Colombia. They got by Turkey. They beat Turkey by 2. They beat Korea by 1. They beat France by 2. So they also put in a solid performance. And in the case of India, they beat Vietnam by 1. Tough match. They beat Iran by 2, and they beat the USA by 2. Also, both of these guys, these teams had strong matches coming up.
Exactly. Yeah, they didn't have any room, to move, so they had to be on the top of their game, which is obviously why they're in the gold medal match here today. So
also going to be an interesting match.
India is starting it off.
Interesting, also a different stabilization setup than we saw on some of the other boats. Very individual, very good technical.
You'll see some like the Russian women's team that we saw. Some of them do not have back bars, like bars coming off the rear side of the boat. And that could just be what works for them. They don't need that extra on the back. It may actually hinder them, whereas these guys obviously, have played with what's going to work and found that single bar coming off the back is what they need. So
the Indian team is a team that thrives off performance. If they do well and they get pumped, it's really, really hard to beat them. You better put them under pressure quickly. Exactly. Otherwise, if they get their tails in the air, they will shoot increasingly better scores as the match goes on.
And that's again the part of the confidence. That just really works for them. It kind of fuels them to where we're doing really well. We're doing what we need to do, and just keep going with that instead of saying, oh, what do I need to change? What am I doing wrong? And then you're thinking more on the negative side of things. So rough arrow for Colombia. The emotions kind of show on the face there that
big disappointment.
Wasn't what they wanted, but
and so the challenge is now to overcome that disappointment, put it behind you, and focus on the next arrow.
That's all you can do. In these situations, you're not going to get an arrow back. You're not going to say, "Oops, I made a mistake on that one. Let me retry." That's not how it works, unfortunately. Even though we may want it to be.
No mulligans.
No mulligans. So. Definitely just moving past it, being able to say in your mind, okay, I'm going to forget about that. I'm a good shooter. I made it to this point. I can make a perfect shot, and just focus on doing that instead of dwelling on something you can't change. There's another 9, so
the door is still open.
Each dropping 2 points already.
If you can keep India under pressure, will help a lot.
Exactly.
Abhishek, I think, shot in the medal matches in the last World Championships. Really good archer.
Very, very strong.
One of the best in the world. We are so used to seeing the Colombian ladies team shooting medal matches.
Yeah, Colombia is
9.5
definitely
a las 8.
a strong country in archery. A lot of that having to do with, you know, some of the women's team. You do see a lot of them in the
Siempre en línea, siempre en
in the
línea.
medal matches. Sarah Lopez will be competing this afternoon.
Bien, muy bien.
It's a good shot.
In the
Eso
individual
es.
matches, so definitely
Mucho tiempo, Camilo.
a strong name in
25.
archery, holding a lot of the world records as well.
Yes.
He's holding on to that one.
Eso
Oh, he made a
es,
great
bien.
shot.
What he needed to do.
57-58, so just 1 point in it.
Igualito. José. Ya, rompió el hielo. Vamos.
You can obviously see when the archers come up and they hold a little bit longer, the tremor starts to develop and
Yep,
you
you
know,
can
the
kinda
pressure
see
comes onto
A little
you.
bit of shake there, but you know, if you can control that, if you know your shot well enough to say, you know, I can still put this in the middle. And in this situation, even if you start shaking and you start thinking about it, you don't have the time needed to let down, you know, regroup and come back to make another shot. You know, you have to, and that's really when it comes down to the precision side of the sport, is you have to do it in the time that you are given, and there's no room for movement.
The match play shooting against time, where you, like in a team match or even individual, and there's little time left, does put a little bit of another spin on it. So
Yeah.
you know, if you shoot individual during the elimination rounds coming up to this point, there's a lot of time to reset, rethink,
There
and
is,
shoot again.
yep, exactly, and you know, like we were discussing before, the different ways that you can have your teams shoot. You know, if an archer gets up, shoots 2 arrows, gets off the line, you know, the other archer gets up, shoots 2 arrows, gets off the line. It's different timing. You know, you have more room sometimes one way or the other to be able to utilize your time differently, and it just all depends on how you can practice for that and how you can work that time and be able to use it. But really, what you need to do is you just need to get up there, make a strong shot, and that's where, you know, no second guesses kind of comes into it as well. You can't second guess yourself in that situation. Just get up there and say, I know how to make a strong shot, and that's what I'm going to do.
That's exactly what Munoz did. Put one right in the tent.
Yep. Just
So,
what you need to
Jose,
do,
muy bien.
give
That's
a-
also, you know, that boosts a lot of confidence. Once you put one in there, you know what to do. Your muscle starts relaxing, your whole body relaxes, and then you can do it. You can
Exactly.
shoot a lot of tens, which is what this game is all about.
Mucho tiempo, vamos.
Here,
Must hold
shaking a
on.
little bit, but
Muy bien.
You could see he wasn't happy with that shot
Yeah.
because that, you know, he had some movement before the shot. Yeah. India put it down there with 310.
Se
So
trancó un poquito, Camilo. Vamos a hacer un poquito más fluido.
very relaxed looking shot. You know, just kind of doesn't look like he had to try hard. Just fell right into place.
you do have archers that really make it look easy.
That's for sure, and those are kind of the ones that you like to watch too. You know,
Yes.
and say, you know, that it just looks
Flowing.
so fluid, so smooth, and then you can kind of, you know, have that in the back of your mind when you're shooting as well, to try and make your shot just as smooth and just as fluid.
Oh, that's
Good
just
shot, great group by India there. Just a tick out.
still a 1 point match.
Vamos, Dani. Fluido, fluido.
Munoz has put, he's been shooting well. I think he's got only 10s
bien, muy
thus
bien,
far.
exacto,
Another X to
perfecto.
add to that.
Bien, bien. Bien, bien, bien.
So they also follow the shooting order that we saw earlier this morning. Shooting one archer shooting on the right target, the other archer shooting on the left target.
Camilo, mucho tiempo. 15
Where you
segundos.
would see India put 3 in the same target and the other 3 in the other target.
Yeah, and sometimes what that is just,
Ocho,
you know,
ocho,
to
ocho,
instead of having to worry about, oh, did I already shoot one in the right target, or having to switch back and forth, it just eliminates at least for two of the archers, you know, having to switch, just say only worry about shooting in the left target, and then that's one thing that one less thing that they have to worry about.
Oh, what a good shot.
Very strong. The whole team's happy about that one.
You could see India's, you know, they're very pumped. Just high. Looked like a good shot. Still made a smooth release.
And you know, you see, even given high fives, even though it wasn't, you know, wasn't the highest score he could have gotten, it's still, you know, you shot a good shot, even though it didn't get there. You still need to be confident in your shooting and encourage one another, and that's where the team aspect comes into play. Making sure your teammates are behind you no matter what you shoot.
2-point lead for India there. Halfway through, I think it's definitely not over. It's a very good match still going on, and it's good shooting by both parties, and you can definitely see that there are wind playing in factor. You can see some of the archers, the shot just takes a little bit longer. The aim is not settled in the middle completely. So yeah, it's an interesting tournament. I actually like watching that as well, you know, to see how everybody handles the different conditions. Archery, especially the World Cups, is an outdoor sport, and you must be able to handle the wind, to read the wind, to shoot in the wind. So that's an important aspect of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of archers will have different ways of preparing for the wind. Do you have a certain strategy where you kind of, you know, will you go out on just a super windy day and shoot arrows, figure out where your equipment needs to go, or I guess how do you prepare for the wind?
Yeah, so in my case, you know, I like to shoot in windy conditions just to prepare myself for when the windy conditions actually happen. And in fact, you know, I'm a trigger shooter, so the wind most of the time play a little bit to my advantage. Where you get a super calm day, you get the guys with hinges sometimes putting up better scores. Yeah, I like to prepare in the wind. I don't like to do it too much because you can develop some really bad habits.
You can, yeah, and then it's like you don't know how to shoot a good shot when there's no wind. You only know how to shoot a good shot when there's a lot of wind, and then when it dies down. And when it gets to a certain point, you know, if it's blowing so hard you can't even get on the target, you know, then it's to the point of, okay, now we're just practicing guessing, you know, now we're just practicing our luck. So, yeah, is it worth it to, like you said, get those bad habits, you know, ingrained, or is it worth it just to...
I guess it's a fine balance you have to find to, you know, how do you fight the wind? Do you flow with the wind? It's different for each archer. It's different for, you know, it helps if you shoot a heavier, higher poundage bow. It does fight the wind a little bit better.
Yep, exactly.
You can see he's really struggling to get his shots off a little bit. I think he's not happy with the shot timing. Maybe his right hand on that hinge release is just not relaxed enough, so the shots are not going when he wants it to go.
Yeah, and I know he's been in medal matches before and such, but sometimes, you know, you can just get uptight or just get tense just enough to where it changes how your muscles are reacting to each other, and you may not have that smooth fluid movement like we were talking before, and maintaining the same amount of pressure in practice as you are in the matches.
Opening the door.
Very close. It looked like it was just out, wouldn't you say? Yeah, but it's very, very close there.
We'll have to wait that one out. So Verma can put them back on track. Just out the left
good
as well.
Good shot, yeah, but in that same line there where they're all pushed just that much to the left.
1 point game. It's a 1 point game. Munoz has been shooting really solid. I think he had 1-9 and a close 9 for that.
Out the left side too.
Curse on him. Shame.
Yeah. You know, when you look at the trees, and it's like that shot doesn't really look like there was much wind affecting it. So could that have been a form issue, or was it the wind, and you don't really know unless you're out there, you know what I mean?
And sometimes you shoot it and you don't even know.
Exactly.
But you can see there's movement in his bow. Oh,
Oh,
that
that one's,
that got away from him. I think he was trying to make the shot slightly quicker and
yeah, I mean,
maybe wasn't settled
you
completely.
see on the time that he only had 1 second left to go, and that is a very tight time to try and make a good shot off.
Exactly. Specifically, if you shoot a hinge release, to make it fire, there's a lot of movement that comes with that. If you shoot a trigger and you have very little time left, you can, pull the trigger and you'll have less movement and a higher probability of hitting a reasonable shot.
And like we were saying before as well, different archers prefer a different style of release because maybe they can control a hinge better than they can control a trigger. Maybe it'll produce better results when you need to do that. But the ultimate goal is to just shoot the smoothest, the strongest, the most repetitive, consistent shot that you can. You don't really want to be controlling your shot from one side to another.
It's raining reds now. We saw 3 reds
Yep,
now, so it's making it interesting at least.
You can kind of see that both teams are struggling just a little bit here, and does the gold medal match have a little bit more pressure than the bronze medal match? Knowing that you've won every single match up to this point, possibly.
Yeah, because if when I look outside now, it doesn't seem to be an excessive amount of wind going on. Maybe it's just the pressure. Just the pressure. They're close to each other, putting pressure on each other. You can also see the Indian team, they're smiling, but they're not high-fiving, they're not up there because they're not sure that, they're right on top of the other team. Yeah.
Right.
They're usually a team that, when they shoot a good shot, you know it.
Oh yeah, it's very, very supported by the rest of the team. You get very excited about it, and sometimes that can kind of pump you up, get you in the right mood as well.
But saying that, they lead by 3 points, which is probably a good space to be in at this stage.
Yep, going into the last end here.
Very good slow motion footage. It'd be nice to have that footage when you tune your bow to see if your arrows are flying straight.
Right, there are actually some systems that some archers can kind of take advantage of if your shop or your club, or if you have a slow motion camera where you can see, just second by second and break it down as to what all of your equipment is doing, how your equipment is working together, and how you are working with your equipment as well. Definitely can be a tool that is useful. Nice strong shot there.
Back on track here with a good deep 10.
Siempre en línea, José. Muy bien, muy bien.
Strong shot as well, just out the bottom.
Muy bien.
This is turning out to be an interesting match, not necessarily the super high scoring event, but still a very good match.
Very close, yeah, and that's kind of one of the things about archery is it doesn't necessarily matter if you shoot better scores than the rest of the teams out there. All you have to worry about in the moment is what you need to do to win the match that you're in, which sometimes can get frustrating, when you look down the line, if you shoot a really good score and lose your match, to see that you still shot a very good score compared to other archers out there. It's like, I'm shooting really good, I shouldn't have lost, but
but that really doesn't actually
That's
matter.
not how it goes, no, and that's just, you kind of have to accept it and move on. Be happy that you shot well, right?
Yes, that's true. It's all about winning that one match. It's exactly what's happening here.
Exactly.
We saw a very, very good X there, the first shot. You can see the wind is pumping slightly now from right to left. Very, very good.
Not enough to throw them off.
That was needed for them. That boosts their confidence and just creates a little bit more of a gap. They're in a really commanding lead now.
Yep, 4 points going into the last 3 arrows.
Muy bien, muy bien.
Just out.
10, 10.
Making that 5 points.
No, 10, 10. 10.
So sometimes when you are in this position that Colombia is finding themselves, you just sort of relax and shoot the shots, because there's nothing you can do about it. You
Exactly,
can just hope.
and it's not like, you know, trying harder
Camilo,
necessarily is going to make you shoot better shots. Sometimes that'll tense up your muscles, slow your shot down even more, and make, you know, the results that you don't want. You want to duplicate as much of what you do in practice onto the field, and by doing that, you know, just being as relaxed as you can, and just thinking, hey, I have to get out there and shoot my shot. Can't do anything else but that.
Well, that's how you end. If you can put it on the top of the 10, that's what you can do. There's not a lot more that you can do about it.
Exactly. At that point, you got to put everything else behind you and say, hey, you know, in these 3 arrows, there's a possibility that
Something can go wrong.
something else could happen other than just our score. You know, it could be our opponent's score that decides the match.
Yeah,
so,
Srither is definitely not planning on letting anything happen. He put one straight in the 10.
like you said, they get on a roll there and they just keep that momentum going.
Yeah, the tails is up. Yeah, you can see it's still a 9.
One shot just out, it looks like.
That's really good enough. 6-2 in it. And, I would bet 1,000 times, 999 out of 1,000 times you would put it in, which he does. Yeah. Well done to India. Good win there.
Congratulations, gold medal to India, and still strong shooting, and a silver medal to Colombia. They'll still be able to step up on the podium there, which is always a good feeling.
Yes.
So.
If you can reach the podium at a World Cup, you did a good job. Really,
Absolutely.
you did. Yeah, good shooting. I think we enjoyed the match as well. Not as high a score as some of the ladies' matches and even the previous match, but still an entertaining match.
Absolutely. You know,
And I think, Lexi, you said it as well. It doesn't matter if you look down the field and you lost with the second highest score in the field. It just doesn't matter. It's all about that match, and there's a lot of there's a lot going on in a match. You can never say I shot the second highest score, I would have won that guy, or would have won that person, because you know, in the match it's all about the pressure you put on the other guy and the pressure the other archer puts on you, and so how you respond to that. There's a lot.
How you respond, how you learn from it, and how you can apply it to the next competition is definitely something that will determine